This boy has to endure the painful process of pulling out his dragon horn every day. Only by doing so can he survive, for the horn continuously emits a sound that tortures him, making him want to die. At first, his grandmother was too scared to let the villagers know she had a monstrous grandson. It wasn't until the whole village could no longer hear the noise that she realized how serious the situation was. The village elder, the grandmother, searched the world for a doctor and finally found Ginkgo, who came to help. Ginkgo believed the answer lay within the ear. By examining the ear's internal structure, Ginkgo could identify the form of the creature inside. When Ginkgo saw the mucus inside the villagers' ears, he immediately understood. The villagers were being eaten by a creature called Yu, which resembled many snails. These creatures liked to hide in the darkness, and when they heard an ear that could collect sound, they would abandon their shells and settle into the human cochlea, where they consumed all the sound. Ginkgo had the villagers bring hot water and added a packet of magical edible salt to it. Then, by pouring the saline solution into the ear, the Yu would come out on its own, and the villagers' hearing would be restored. Following Ginkgo's method, all the villagers' hearing loss was cured. But no matter how hard Maka tried, he couldn't be cured. His grandmother felt helpless and finally told Ginkgo about her grandson's condition. Maka was the most severe patient of all. His symptoms weren't exactly what one would call hearing loss. On the contrary, Maka could hear every sound around him. Even in the dead silence of a cold winter night, the sound of a single drop of water would wake him up. Maka hadn't slept well for 3 months. Ginkgo immediately saw that Maka had been parasitized by a mutated form of Yu called Aso. These creatures were the opposite of Yu. They loved to collect all the sounds around them. However, there were no successful cases of removing Aso documented in the literature. Unlike Yu, Aso wasn't afraid of salt water. There had been a parasite master who tried various medicinal herbs but found no effective treatment, eventually watching the patient's spirits be slowly drained away until they died. Now this problem had resurfaced. But Ginkgo wasn't going to let Maka die. He wouldn't let anyone die. Ginkgo lit an insect-repellent smoke. Though the effect wasn't great, Maka's condition did improve. From Maka, Ginkgo learned that Maka wasn't the first person to be parasitized by Aso. The last person was his mother. Maka still remembered what his mother said at the end. But when his mother covered his ears, Maka had forgotten what she said. After that, Maka grew the same flesh-colored dragon horns as his mother. During their communication, Ginkgo didn't find any useful information. He was thinking about why Maka's mother covered his ears when telling him the secret. Strangely, the normally obedient Maka secretly slipped out of the house. When he discovered Ginkgo, he asked Ginkgo not to tell anyone. Ginkgo didn't stop him. He wanted to see where Maka was going. That day, the snow was particularly heavy, and the sounds around them seemed to disappear. But the heartbeat of life became incredibly clear. Maka hid in a cave and heard the disappearing sound of the fire. Ginkgo finally understood the correct way to remove Aso. Just as they were talking, all the bugs in the cave ran out. Ginkgo wasn't scared. He found the most special one in the air and voluntarily allowed the creature to invade his body because Ginkgo had already figured out how to drive Aso out. Ginkgo told Maka to cover his ears like his mother had done. Maka gently touched Ginkgo's body, and Aso immediately disappeared. While covering his ears with his hands couldn't completely mute the sound, Aso was afraid of the life energy of other creatures. Perhaps Maka's mother already knew the answer, but, as she was about to die, she lost the ability to remove Aso. Maka recalled the scene and finally understood what his mother had said. She repeatedly asked Maka if he could hear. It was the sound inside her body, as hot as lava. Maka heard his own heartbeat, and the dragon horn slowly detached. It turned out that humans had blood flowing inside them that was as hot as molten lava. It was the power of life that allowed him to survive again. That day, Ginkgo took the 2 pairs of dragon horns.